Hello and welcome to Understanding the Media Literacy Lab, a presentation by the Alannah and Madeline Foundation. Before we begin, I'd like to say that the Alannah and Madeline Foundation acknowledges and pay respect to the many First Nations and traditional custodians of the land and waters where we live, work and provide our services. We recognise and celebrate their spiritual and ongoing connection to culture and country. We pay our respects to all elders past and present, and with their guidance are committed to working to ensure all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children and young people are safe and inspired with the freedom to flourish. We would like to start also by thanking the Telstra Foundation, who've provided the funding for the delivery of these workshops across the country. This allows us to inform communities with low levels of digital inclusion and give access to our educational tools. So this information session will give a broad understanding of media literacy education and its importance in the Australian curriculum. We'll then dive into the Media Literacy Lab, exploring the learning modules. We'll provide information on how to get set up to the program. And lastly, how to access supporting resources that will assist you. So media literacy is defined by the Australian Media Literacy Alliance as the ability to critically engage with media in all aspects of life. So that involves the ability to access, analyse, evaluate and create media in a variety of forms. And this is seen as a crucial form of lifelong learning and literacy that is necessary for full participation in society. So in Australia, media literacy education can sit across a range of subject areas. In version 9 of the Australian curriculum, you'll find statements about critical engagement in the rationale for media arts, English and HPE, along with general capabilities. It can also be a good starting off point for areas including history or civics and citizenship, as it does teach the skills of unpacking bias and agenda. So what is the Media Literacy Lab? The main product of the Media Literacy Lab are the interactive learning modules. So within these, students complete tasks, answer questions that are all designed to enhance their understanding of key media literacy skills and concepts. It's been created by qualified learning designers and draws entirely upon expert knowledge in the area. Currently, there are single modules for years 7, 8, 9 and 10, with further modules that are going to be gradually released over the coming months. The MLL has also been designed with students and educators at the forefront of our minds and has had people with teaching experience as part of our core design team. We've aimed to create a usable product that includes clear learning outcomes, whole class discussions and activities that can really set the scene and cement learning. Each module has assessment questions built in with an answer key provided for teachers to support students in the moment. There is a downloadable page that demonstrates relevant content descriptors from the Australian curriculum as well for each module. We also understand that students have different needs and of course within a classroom will require different levels of support. So we've ensured that the product is compliant with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So each page has a complete web reader and both mouse and keyboard functionality. Beyond this, students are also supported with explicit learning outcomes, instant feedback, and the all-important acknowledgement of progress with a downloadable certificate upon completion. So I just want to switch it up and do a bit of an activity that gives you an insight into the program. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. You'll need a paper and pen for this one. I'd like you to spend 2 minutes by thinking how many different media jobs can you think of? And we'll come back in a moment. So I hope you've had a chance to have a think. We've given some examples down the bottom there, including film, television, news, and radio. Feel free to share with the people around you, if you're watching with others, how many media jobs you came up with. What we just completed is an example of one of the pre-lesson activities for the Media Literacy Lab. This is for module 7.1, so the year 7 module. The purpose of the pre-lesson activities are to tune students into the topics that are going to be covered within the modules. They also give teachers some structure when planning, and there is a defined whole part, whole approach. So you can see that the activity you just completed was designed to start thinking about the idea that all media is constructed by a range of people, and their own voice and views, which are part of fact and opinion, will be present in that. So the modules and accompanying lesson plans present scenarios and activities which allow students to start to critically think about how these things play out in the world of media. Along with fact and opinion, the current modules cover media literacy concepts, including media agenda, bias, and mis and disinformation. In all instances, the aim is for students to build their awareness around the impact on themselves and others of the media that they consume, create, and also share. This supports their development also as positive digital citizens. So let's have a look into the learning modules themselves. So the learning modules are the activities that students complete on their individual device after the shared whole class lesson. So to start each model, pre-assessment questions gauge current understanding through multiple choice style questions. Note that the functions for the screen reader are always present at the top left of the screen, along with access to a glossary to ensure key terms are remembered by the students. An 80% pass rate is required to proceed, but students are given instant feedback to their responses and offered the chance to repeat. For those striving for 100%, it is also possible to repeat even a pass. So there are a variety of question types with instructions available at all times in the journey. I've jumped into module 8.1 now to give you some examples from across the MLL. Modules will build upon also what has been learnt in previous years. So the modules continue the learning through year 7, 8, 9, and 10. Even the pages that feature the learning required to answer the questions do have an interactive element. So in this activity, clicking on each frame will reveal the type of framing used to capture an audience. So this means that students aren't just reading and clicking through content, but they're engaging with an action. For example, we've clicked on one of the frames and explored how clickbait works with this instant example. Students then get thrown challenges to allow them to apply their learning right away. Here, the player has just started as an editorial assistant at the Sunnyside newspaper and has received their first task. So they then create the content that is asked of them and receive feedback on it from the assistant editor at the end. The activities are scaffolded enough to ensure progress is made for all students, even if the final results differ from student to student. They may choose to challenge themselves by extending on a task. For example, in this activity, persuasive devices are needed to help the framing of the article that they have just selected a headline for. So now you've had a chance to have a quick look into MLL. Let's give you some information now on how to register, how to get started on the program. So we'll briefly go through how to get started, as you'll be able to access a manual also with clear steps, but we would like to show a few features that make the program as user-friendly as possible. So one person from your school will register on behalf of the whole school. They have the role of coordinator. So this is the person who is responsible for adding other educators and students to the school account. So it could be someone in an admin or leadership role if that's suitable. So once an educator has confirmed their account, once a coordinator has confirmed their account, they will then add in the educators. So it's important to note that educators do not go through the registration process themselves, as a school can only be registered once. So when the coordinator has imported educators, either in bulk using a CSV or individually by clicking to add educators, they'll receive an email inviting them to confirm their account, the educators. So the coordinator will then enroll the classes following the instructions. Again, you can download a CSV template to complete this in bulk, or you can add students individually. So if using the CSV option, it's important that you use the template provided and follow the instructions that are written in the second row of that template. If you do get any error messages when trying to upload your classes, it's likely you've missed something in those instructions. Just go back and double check your file again. So once educators and classes are uploaded, you or the educator will be able to unlock the appropriate modules and then provide students with their login details. In your class list, you'll see a username for each student and the temporary password, which is the class code. On the first login, students will select their own password, and of course, if they forget it, their educator will be able to reset it using the Actions menu, which you can see in the class list. So once this has all been done, your students will be able to get into the modules, but you also have the ability to access the supporting resources. So that includes the lesson plans that we discussed earlier. Any enrolled educators or the coordinator will be able to see the teaching pack for each year level. From this menu, you have the option to download all the supporting resources. So the teaching slides are PowerPoint decks, so you can easily project these. The lesson plans, answer keys, curriculum links are all PDFs to make for easy storage or printing. And the preview module feature allows you to run through the entire student module before assigning it to your class. And that just lets you be prepared for anything that might serve as a challenge for your particular students. So then the class management tab can be accessed by all educators and the coordinator, meaning there is not an assigned teacher to each class. The drop-down class menus will reveal the enrolled students and their current progress. So from this tab, you're also able to perform actions such as resetting a student module, resetting a password, or printing the certificates when modules have been completed for the students. Support. The Media Literacy Lab is part of the Alannah Madeline Foundation suite of eSmart products, and we do have knowledgeable advisors available to support you. So if you require an immediate response, a phone call would be best, but otherwise, we will be able to respond within 48 hours through our emails or through contacting the site. So we've just included here a web form, an email, and a phone number for any extra support. If you have any questions